Hey buddies, let's today finish chapter 11 and eventually finish entire business data analytics. We'll be covering 11.5, 11.6 and MCQs which are in the back of your book, right? So let's start 11.5 right away. 11.5 is one of the most important topics as far as exam is concerned because there are many topics from which the questions may be asked. So in all probability something can be expected out of 11.5, right? Let's start with the chapter right away. This chapter talks about cloud computing, business intelligence, artificial intelligence, robotic process automation and machine learning. So core, this is 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 topics we'll be talking in detail. Okay, let's start with cloud computing first, right? Okay, what do you mean by cloud computing? Cloud computing is basically delivery of computing services including servers, storage, databases, networking, software, analytics and intelligence over the internet. The internet is something which is referred to as cloud, right? To offer faster innovation, flexible resources and economies of scale. Cloud service basically helps businesses, right? So what does it tell you? Cloud computing is nothing but is basically a way or a delivery of computing services through what? It includes various resources through which the computing services can be offered. This can be through servers, storage, databases, networking, software, analytics and intelligence. So these are some of the important components, or these are the key components through which the cloud computing can be offered. How it is done? It is done over the internet. So basically there is no server, storage or database which is there in the organization itself, but it is done through the internet. This internet is something which is referred to as clouds, hence it is called as cloud computing. What is the purpose of doing it? It can offer you faster innovation, flexible resources and economies of scale. Okay, what do you mean by economies of scale? Economies of scale simply means any cost advantage that is reaped by companies when the production becomes efficient. Nothing but if your production increases, automatically your cost comes down. So that's what is basically economies of scale. So higher the production, lower the cost, or we can say any cost advantage reaped. Reap means any benefit taken. By whom? By the companies when production becomes efficient. This is just for your understanding purpose what exactly is economies of scale, right? So simply cloud computing means any delivery of computing services which includes servers, storage, databases, networking, software analytics and intelligence over the internet. So this is the key point here, over the internet, to offer faster innovation, flexible resources and economies of scale. So this basically helps the businesses, right? Okay, let's move on to different types of cloud computing. Okay, now there are basically 3 types of cloud computing. First one is called as private cloud, second is public cloud and third one is called as hybrid cloud. Okay, what do you mean by a private cloud? A cloud computing environment dedicated to a single organization. So when it is organization specific, that is called as private cloud, right? In private cloud, all resources are isolated and in the control of one organization. So private cloud thus means that all the information and the data that you have, that will be stored and retained by the company itself. So basically all the resources are very isolated. Isolated means it is kept separately and only organization can have the control over it. It is also called internal or corporate cloud. Yes or no? Because it is within the organization, so it does mean that it is internal in nature. Hence it is called internal or corporate cloud. Benefits include customizable architecture. So basically organization can create or customize the architecture as per its needs and requirement. Enhance security procedures. Now obviously when it is very company specific, they will have some data which is very sensitive in nature. So they will have enhanced security procedures for that, and expand capacity of computer resources as per the requirement. So whatever requirement they have for expanding the capacity, the company can do itself, right? So basically what are the benefits of private cloud? It is customizable architecture, enhance security procedures and expand the capacity of computer resources as per the requirement. Facilities of private cloud is offered to internal users through intranet. We all have heard about internet. What do you mean by intranet? If someone is a working professional, they would know. Still, as a student, if you intranet is something wherein the sharing of data is done within the organization, right? It is not meant for the external people or the outside people. For example, if you want to check your salary slips or you want to check your leave account, now this cannot be put in internet. Everyone can't have an access to it. So if it is within the organization, there is a medium which is called as an intranet. Intra means within. So if it is within the company, it is called as an intranet. In some cases, company hires third-party cloud service provider to host and operates its servers off-site. That means the company may not have it within the organization. That is, it may not be on-site. It can be outsourced rather to some other outside cloud service provider, and that is called as an off-site cloud service cloud service, right? So basically, what is a private cloud? It is basically a cloud computing environment dedicated to a single organization. So keyword here is it is only meant for one single organization, or it is very organization specific. Private cloud, all resources are isolated and in control of one organization. It is also called as internal or a corporate cloud. Benefits basically includes customizable architecture, enhanced security procedures, and expand capacity of computer resources as per the requirement. Facilities of private cloud is offered to internal users through what? Through intranet. In some cases, company hires third-party cloud service provider to host and operate its servers off-site, right? So it can be on-site as well as off-site. Okay. Next one, we come to what? We come to public cloud. Okay. What do you mean by public cloud? See, private cloud is something which is organization specific. So obviously public cloud is something which is accessible to everyone, right? So computing services offered by third party providers over the public internet. So there the reference was to intranet. Here the services are provided through the public internet or the internet in general, making them available to anyone who wants to use or purchase them. So anyone can have an access to them. Either it can be free or you may get it as a paid service. So computing services offered by a third-party provider over the public internet, making them available to anyone who wants to use or purchase them. They may be free or sold on demand, as I said, giving cushion to the customers to pay only per usage for the CPU cycles, storage, or bandwidth they consume. So what exactly they will be paying for, or they will getting the services for? Either per usage for the CPU cycle, the storage purpose, or bandwidth they consume, right? It stores and manages access to data. So you can store and have an access to the data, or they will manage the access to data and applications through the internet. So here the keyword is it is done through the internet. In the previous, that is private cloud, it is all done through intranet, right? So what exactly is public cloud? Computing services offered by third-party providers over the public internet, making them available to anyone who wants to use or purchase them. So basically, if you want to use or purchase them, in that case, you can offer public cloud. They may be free or sold on demand. It gives the cushion to the customers for what? To pay only per usage for CPU cycle, storage, or bandwidth they consume. It stores and manages access to data and applications through the internet, right? Finally, we come to something called as hybrid cloud. Now, hybrid cloud is a culmination of both private as well as the public cloud. It is a mixture of both private and the public cloud models. It enables one to migrate. Migrate means to shift and manage workloads. So all the workload that you are managing, hybrid cloud can help you to do that. How? Between various cloud environments. So either it can be public also, private also. Hybrid cloud can help you to manage the access of both of them, allowing one to create more versatile setups based on specific business needs. So basically you can use it as per, or rather you can say it can be tailor-made. So the way you want it to be, you can do it with the help of a hybrid cloud, or it can be manipulated, or it can be dynamic in nature, and you can turn as per your requirements, and it is based on specific business needs. So what exactly is a hybrid cloud? It's a mixture of both private and the public cloud model. It enables one to migrate and manage workloads between various clouds environments. So you can use both public as well as private, allowing one to create more versatile setup. Versatile means someone which can be tuned as per your convenience based on specific business needs. It enables businesses to store more sensitive data on premises. That means within the organization, the business will be able to store more sensitive data, and it can be accessed through apps or hosted in the public cloud. So basically you can access it through the usage of applications or the apps, or it can even be hosted in the public cloud. To comply with the privacy rules, company may keep sensitive data in private cloud and execute resources intensive computation in public cloud. So something which is company specific, you can keep it in the private cloud, that is, it can be accessed only through intranet. And if there is something which needs to be shared with the outside public, or it has to execute resource intensive computation, that can be done through the public cloud, right? So what exactly is a hybrid cloud? Mixture of both private and public model, enables one to migrate and manage workloads between various cloud environments, allowing one to create more versatile setup based on specific business needs. It enables businesses to store more sensitive data on premises and access it through apps hosted in public cloud, right? To comply with the privacy rules, company may keep sensitive data in private cloud and execute resource intensive computation in the public cloud. So with this we finished cloud computing, right? Now we move on to the next part of the chapter, which talks about business intelligence, or what we call as a BI. Fine. Okay. BI is what? It includes business analytics, data mining, data visualization, data tools, and infrastructure and ideal standards to help business in making choices that are more data driven. So this is more data driven, right? These are all topics we have already discussed in detail in the previous chapters. So basically business intelligence is what? It includes business analytics, data mining, data visualization, data tools, and infrastructure and ideal standards for what? For helping business in making choices that are more data driven. So basically business intelligence has all the data, or it can be used as a tool which is more data oriented, or it is more data driven, right? It plays a key role to drive change. So if you want to bring any change in the organization, business intelligence can be a very handy tool. It can remove inefficiency. So any drawbacks or any disadvantages that an organization has, that can be removed with the help of business intelligence tools, and it can quickly adapt to market or supply changes, right? So basically it includes business analytics, data mining, data visualization, data tools, and infrastructure and ideal standards for what? For helping the business to make choices that are more data driven. It plays a key role for what? For driving any change, removing any inefficiency, and quickly adapt to the market or the supply changes. Modern BI tools helps in self-service analysis. So basically anything which can be done by, or which you want to do it yourself, that is self-service analysis. Modern BI tools can actually help you in that. It also helps you to empower business users and assist in rapid insight delivery. So any understanding that you want within the organization, in that case business intelligence can be a very effective method of doing that. We talk about various BI methods after this. What are the various business intelligence methods that we have? Now BI in recent times has expanded to incorporate various procedures and activities, right, which are designed to enhance performance. So what are these procedures which are a part of BI method? Okay, these are all something which we have already discussed. We will just learn the points and describe that in brief. First one is data mining. What do you mean by data mining? Large data sets may be mined. Mine means what? Explored, something which we have already done before. So large data sets may be mined for what? For any kind of patterns, using what? Databases, analytics, and machine learning. So that's what is data mining. So what we are learning here is different types of BI methods that we can employ for what? For enhancing the performance, right? So the first one we have done is data mining. Data mining is large data sets may be mined for patterns using databases, analytics, and machine learning. Second one is reporting. So if you want to circulate any information of data analysis to the stakeholders or the beneficiaries of the organization, for them to form conclusions and make decisions, right? So what exactly is reporting? You can report different quarterly performance or annual performance. So this all can be done by the use of BI methods, right? Okay, third one is performance metrics and benchmarking. Benchmarking simply means comparing your present performance with that of your past, right? So comparing current performance to previous performance in order to measure performance with respect to objectives, generally by use of customized dashboards. So dashboard is also something which we have discussed in detail in past. So basically a BI method can be used for what? For measuring the performance metrics and for benchmarking. Okay, then we talk about descriptive analytics, utilizing basic data to analyze historical data to identify patterns and relationships. Okay, then we talk about querying. Querying is nothing but BI extracts responses, right, from data sets in response to data specific queries. So if you have any data specific queries, that can be helped with the done of querying, because that would be a BI would be able to answer the questions which are there in your mind, right? So basically it extracts the responses from the data set. So whatever data sets you have, BI would be able to extract the responses from it with relation to what? With relation to data specific queries, right? Then we talk about statistical analysis, using data of descriptive analytics and statistics to explore data to know how and why a particular pattern occurred, right? So that's what descriptive generally does, right? So basically one of the BI method is statistical analysis. Statistical analysis can be done how? By using data of descriptive analytics and statistics. So statistics has to be used along with descriptive analytics for what? For exploring data to know how and why a particular pattern occurred, right? Okay, then we talk about data visualization, transforming data analysis into visual representations like what? Charts, graphs and histograms, right? Then we talk about visual analysis, exploring data by use of visual storytelling to share findings in real time and maintain the flow of analysis. So visual analysis is also something which we have discussed earlier. So it's basically an art of storytelling or other visual storytelling. How? By the use of data to share what? Findings in real time. So whatever is happening simultaneously you can report it, and this can be done by maintaining the flow of analysis, right? Finally, you talk about data preparation, compilation of raw data from various sources for further processing and analysis. So that's what is data preparation is, right? So what are the various BI methods we have discussed here? BI in recent times has expanded to incorporate various procedures and activities for what? For enhancing the performance. What are these procedures like? First one is data mining, then we talk about reporting, performance metrics and benchmarking, descriptive analytics, querying, statistical analysis, data visualization, visual analysis and data preparation, right? Okay, now we move on to the next sub part, which is artificial intelligence, right? Okay, artificial intelligence is a technology that enables computers and machines to simulate. Simulate means to copy, or they work the way a human intelligence does, right? So basically it is a technology that enables the computers and the machines to simulate human intelligence and problem solving capabilities. So AI is able to, or rather it is a technology which can copy or it can simulate human minds, right, for any kind of problem solving, right? So that's what is artificial intelligence all about. Okay, there is a person called as Alan Turing. He is called the father of computer science, right? He has proposed what? He has proposed something called as Turing test, in which human interrogator means someone who asks you questions, right? In which human interrogator tries to differentiate between a machine and a human written answer. So for example, the best way of understanding is this chat GPT, right? Now nowadays anything that you want, you can simply type in chat GPT and you would get an answer for that. Or rather even Google for that matter, right? But ChatGPT is an advanced version of what we see here in artificial intelligence, right? So AI is basically a technology that enables computers and machines to simulate human intelligence and problem solving capabilities. Alan Turing, father of computer science, has proposed something called as Turing test, in which human interrogator tries to differentiate between a machine and a human written answer, right? Okay, then there are other two people who are called as Stuart Russell and Peter Norvig. They have published one popular AI textbook called Artificial Intelligence, a Modern Approach, right? In this book they discuss 4 alternative aims or definitions of AI, right? So they are popular for AI basically, and they have discussed 4 alternative aims or definitions of AI, in which systems distinguish between what? Between computer system based on reasoning and thinking versus acting. So if question asks you that what does Stuart Russell and Peter Norvig book talks about, it basically helps you to distinguish between the computer systems which are based on reasoning and thinking versus acting, right? So there are 2 approaches in this. First one is human approach and second one is called as an ideal approach. In human approach, what do they cover is systems that think like humans and systems that act like human, right? Think like human is like you and me. Act like human is basically a robo kind of structure, right? Then there is called as an ideal approach. It basically says that systems that can think rationally and systems that can act rationally. So basically the keywords that you see here is think and act, right? As far as human approach is concerned, systems can think like humans and act like humans. Here systems can think rationally and they can act rationally. So that's the difference between both. So this what talks about the difference between, or it distinguishes between computer system based on reasoning and thinking versus acting. So two things are human approach and ideal approach, right? Okay. Now basically AI is a topic that combines computer science and substantial data sets. For what? To allow problem solving. So AI is basically a topic which is a culmination of what? Computer science and substantial data sets. For what? For any kind of problem solving, right? It also includes subfields of machine learning. ML here refers to machine learning, right? So basically AI, this AI topic combines both computer science and substantial data sets. It also includes subfields of machine learning and deep learning, which is commonly linked with AI. So you have two topics, one is called as machine learning and one is called as deep learning, and they are directly or commonly linked to something called as artificial intelligence. Now these fields consist of AI algorithm to develop expert systems that can make predictions or classification based on input data. So you need to input a data, and the AI algorithm will, with the help of the expert systems, can make predictions, or they can help you to make certain classifications, right? Okay, let's understand this. What are the areas? This question can be a bit important, I feel, because this talks about the applications in the area of financial services. So if they ask you what are the applications in area of financial services for AI, then you can answer by writing these points. First one is investment services. So how does AI helps in investment services? It basically helps you in algorithmic trading, right? If you are a share trader, in that case it can help you in algorithmic trading. It can give you robo advisory. Robo advisory means simply there are robots which are machine made and which have data sets within them, and if you ask any question they will answer back to you. So that's what is robo advisories. Then if there is any insurance claim processing, or if there is pricing of insurance products, right? So in this case, investment services, AI can be a very effective tool. So what all in case of investment services you can use AI for? One is for algorithmic trading, robo advisory, insurance claim processing, or pricing of insurance products, right? Then you come to second part of financial service, that is called as lending. So how can AI be handy in case of lending? It can help you in retail and commercial lending operation, right? Then retail and commercial lending scores, what you call as a CIBIL score. In that case also AI can be a very effective tool, and detecting possibility of any default, right? So if there is an NPA or likely to be an NPA, that is non-performing asset, in that case AI can be can come to your rescue. Then you have something called as audit and compliance. So for audit and compliance, how does AI help you? It helps you in fraud detection, regulatory compliance, travel and expense management, especially of the auditors rather, right? And finally you talk about the customer service. So in the case of customer service, how does AI help you? It helps you to detect new selling opportunities, right? So whatever data you have already created for yourself, if you want to do cross selling or if you want to tap new customers, in that case AI can be very useful. It can help you in KYC, that is know your customer, and prediction of customer churning. So the movement of customer is something which can be predicted through AI, right? So what are the various applications in the area of financial services? First is investment service. Investment service, AI can be helpful in algorithmic trading, robo advisory, insurance claim processing and pricing of insurance products, lending, retail and commercial lending scores, and detecting possibility of default, audit and compliance, fraud detection, regulatory compliance, travel and expense management, and in case of customer service, it helps you in detecting new selling opportunities, KYC, and prediction of customer churning, right? Okay. Now there are types of AI. So the two types of AI you have is basically a weak AI and a strong AI. Now what exactly is a weak AI? Also known as narrow AI or artificial narrow intelligence, what you call as an ANI, right? So AI can be classified into two types. One is called as narrow AI or artificial narrow intelligence, right? Second one is called as a strong AI. Let's discuss weak AI first. It is trained to do only a particular task. Because it is weak in nature, so it has its limitations. Hence it can be doing only a particular task. This AI is very fragile. Very fragile means it is not so strong, right? So it can sink very easily. It allows sophisticated applications you would have heard, such as Apple Siri, Amazon Alexa, etc. So these all come under the category of weak AI. So weak AI, also known as narrow AI or artificial narrow intelligence, it is trained only to do a particular task. This AI is very fragile. That means it is very easy to manipulate, or rather it is not so strong, and it allows sophisticated applications such as Apple Siri, Amazon Alexa, etc. Strong AI is also known as AGI or ASI. AGI stands for Artificial General Intelligence and ASI is Artificial Super Intelligence, right? So and VKI, if you remember, it is called as Artificial Narrow Intelligence. So please understand the difference between the both. In AGI, that is Artificial General Intelligence, machine possesses human level intellect, a self-aware consciousness, and the ability to solve problem, learn and plan for the future. So how does AGI help you? Because AGI is a strong AI, it actually possesses human level intellect. So the way you can think, even the machine can think that way in terms of AGI. It can have a self-aware consciousness, so it itself has a memory and it can respond to it accordingly, and the ability to solve problems, learn and plan for the future, right? Now ASI surpass the intelligence and capabilities of the human brain. That is artificial super intelligence. They can surpass the intelligence and capabilities of human brain. So AGI is something which can work within the domain of a human being. The way you can think, even an AGI can also think. But ASI has the capability to surpass your intelligence and the capabilities, right? That's why we say that AI is going to be a threat in the future, right? So that's the difference between both strong AI and the weak AI. Okay, now we come to something important, which is deep learning versus machine learning, right? Okay, deep learning and machine learning are subfields of AI. Now you can see AI on a whole, but you would see that deep learning and machine learning are a part of it. All the more, deep learning is a subfield of machine learning. So if you have to look in terms of strength, first you have deep learning. Deep learning is again a subpart of machine learning, and all these two are the subpart of artificial intelligence. So you have deep learning, which again is a part of machine learning, and they both are part of artificial intelligence. Okay, now we come to something called as neural network. If you remember, this is something which we have already discussed. This basically constitutes deep learning. So when I talk about neural network, I am talking about deep learning. Deep refers to a neural network with more than 3 layers, right? Deep here refers to something where you have more than 3 layers. This includes what? Inputs, outputs, and is called as deep learning method. So basically the two components are inputs and outputs, and this is called as a deep learning method. Okay, in your book, machine learning and deep learning difference is given, but in a very para manner, and it's very difficult to understand. So what I've done here is I've tried to make it in a tabular format so that it is more relatively easier for you to remember, right? Let's start with the first difference. The first one is machine and the second one is deep. So as far as machine learning is concerned, as we have already seen in the diagram, machine learning superset of the deep learning, right? Whereas deep learning is the subset of machine learning, right? If you look at the figure, you would know deep learning is the subset, whereas the machine learning is the superset. Superset means which comprises which engrosses the other one, right? Okay, it uses structured data, it uses neural network, just we discussed, because we know deep learning, neural network is a part of deep learning. So deep learning differences, it basically uses structured data, whereas the deep learning concept uses neural network. It is basically evolution of AI, right? But it is an evolution of machine learning, because deep learning is the subpart of machine learning, hence it comes from the evolution of machine learning, whereas machine learning comes from the evolution of artificial intelligence. Okay, this consists of thousands of data points. That is, machine learning consists of thousands of data points, whereas deep learning consists of millions of data points. So that's other difference. Okay, as far as machine learning is concerned, algorithms are detected by data analysts to examine specific variables in data sets, whereas algorithms are self-depicted. So here the effort is taken by the data analyst for what? For detection of specific variables in the data set. But here the algorithms are self-depicted on data analysis once they are put into production, right? Okay, machine learning highly used to stay in competition and learn new things, whereas it solves complex machine learning issues. Okay, then more human intervention is required for getting results, whereas in deep learning it is difficult to set up, but it requires less intervention. This is something which we have already discussed, that deep learning it's difficult to set up, but the effort that is required is relatively lower as compared to the machine learning. Okay, you require less training required due to its small size, because machine learning itself is very small in nature, hence the training required is relatively lesser, whereas huge amount of time is required because of very big data points, right? Okay, results are very easy to explain, whereas results are very difficult to explain in case of deep learning. Machine learning is used by banks, offices and mailboxes. Since they are sophisticated algorithms, it is used in self-driving automobiles or surgical robots, right? So these are some of the differences as far as machine learning and deep learning are concerned. If you want to note down the points, you can rewind and have a look at that, right? Okay, then we come to something called as robotic process automation, or what we call as an RPA, right? What exactly is an RPA? Software users develop software robots or bots. Bots is nothing but this last four words of robots, right? So basically software users develop software robots, or called as bots, which are capable of what? Learning, simulating and executing rules based business processes. So basically it's as good as a robot, and this robot is capable of what? It's capable of learning, simulating and executing rules based business processes. So any business processes you have laid down, they are capable of learning and simulating, as well as their execution also. So that's what is called as a RPA, or robotic process automation. RPA automation enables users to construct bots, right? So because you have done the automation by using RPA, they would eventually help you to construct what is called as a bots, or what is called as a robot, right? Once the instructions are given to bots, they complete the task because they are automated and they are self-sufficient and they are capable of learning, simulating and executing. Hence, once the instructions are given to them, they will complete the task on their own. Now, RPA can communicate with any application or system, right? RPA can function continuously, so it doesn't need any break because it is automated and machine oriented. Unlike human beings, it doesn't need a break. It can function continuously and with 100% accuracy and dependability. Very obvious, because it is automated, so the chances of the errors are almost negligible. So it can perform with 100% accuracy and dependability. They are kind of digital workforce. Yes or no? They are not human workforce, they are digital workforce. Hence RPA can also be called as a digital workforce, which are capable of interacting with any system or application. Bots may copy paste, scrape site data. Scrape means to remove or to extract or to remove something from the surface, right? To do computations, access and transfer files, analyze mails, log into programs, connect to APIs and extract unstructured data, right? So bots basically can perform various functions like copy paste, scrape site data, do computations, access and transfer files, analyze emails, log into programs, connect to APIs and extract unstructured data. So more or less they can do all the basic clerical work that can be carried out by a human being without any effort and with 100% accuracy, and we can depend on them. So it gives you 100% accuracy as well as the dependability. Okay, RPA bots are simple to configure, utilize and distribute. So ease of use also is something because of which RPA is being preferred. So they are basically simple to configure. So setup is very easily, setting it up is very easily, utilizing it is very easily, and it can be easily distributed also. It is as simple as recording video on a mobile device, right? So you recording through a camera, similarly you can get the task performed by RPA so easily. RPA bots, I'm sorry, it's not RPA, it is RPA bots may be scheduled, copied, altered and shared to undertake enterprise-wide business operations, right? Let's revise RPA once again. It's basically software users develop software robots or bots which are capable of learning, simulating and executing rules-based business processes. Basically, its automation can help you to construct bots. Once the instructions are given to bots, they can complete the task. They can communicate with any application or system. They can be functioning continuously and with 100% accuracy and dependability. They are kind of digital workforce capable of interacting with any system or application. That's something which I have already discussed. What all tasks they can undertake? It can copy paste, scrape site data, do computations, access and transfer files, analyze emails, log into programs, connect to APIs and extract unstructured data. Now RPAs are simple to configure, utilize and distribute. It is as simple as recording video on a mobile phone. RPA bots may be scheduled, copied, altered and shared to undertake enterprise-wide business operations, right? Okay, so what are the various benefits of RPA? RPA gives you a higher productivity. So your productivity increases, it gives you higher accuracy, it helps you to save cost, it helps in the integration across platforms, right? It gives you better customer experience, it helps in exploring artificial intelligence, and it is scalable, right? So that's what are the various benefits of RPA. So basically it can give you higher productivity, higher accuracy, it can help you to save cost, integrate across platforms, better customer experiences, exploring AI, and scalability. Now let's start with something called as machine learning. Now what is machine learning? Machine learning is basically a branch of artificial intelligence and computer science that focuses on using data and algorithms to enable artificial intelligence to imitate the way that humans learn, gradually improving its accuracy, right? So what exactly is machine learning? It is a branch of what? Artificial intelligence and computer science. So it's a mixture of both. It focuses on what? On using data and algorithms. For what? To enable AI to imitate or copy the way humans learn, gradually by improving its accuracy, right? So that's what is machine learning. The machine learning algorithms construct a model based on training data and sample data. So the two things that are involved in machine learning algorithms are training data and sample data, right? Okay, machine learning techniques are utilized in applications such as medicine, email filtering, speech recognition, and computer vision. So these are some of the areas where the machine learning is actually used. So what are these areas? Medicine, email filtering, speech recognition, and computer vision. It is based on the principle that the tactics, algorithms, and conclusions that were performed in the past are likely to continue to perform well in the future. So what has happened in the past, machine learning will be able to replicate that, right? So it is based on the principle that the tactics, so three things involved are tactics, algorithms, and conclusions that were performed in the past are likely to perform well in the future also, right? Okay, moving on. Programs capable of machine learning can complete tasks without being designed to do so. So basically they are inherently built so that you don't need any human interference in it. So whatever programs are capable of machine learning, they can complete the task without being designed to do so. So there's no specific design that's required. Whatever programs are there, they can automatically create such programs for itself, right? For example, computers learning from available data in order to do certain jobs. So computer can undertake the task of learning itself for executing certain processes or jobs, right? Machine learning is more efficient way to assist the computer in developing its own algorithm. So basically the key point here is that it can develop its own algorithm without the help of human programmers. So basically human interference is not exactly required as far as machine learning is concerned. Okay, now we talk approaches towards machine learning. Now on the basis of the type of signal or feedback provided to the learning system, machine learning systems are categorized into 5 categories. So machine learning systems basically have 5 categories in all. Let's start with the first one. The first one is called as supervised learning, right? Okay, when we talk about supervised learning, it is basically a category of machine learning that uses labeled data. So this is the key point here, that supervised learning basically use something called as labeled data for what? To train algorithms to predict outcomes and recognize patterns, right? So supervised learning is basically that category of machine learning that uses what? Labeled data. So the keyword here is labeled data. So supervised learning uses something called as labeled data for what? For training algorithms to predict outcomes and to recognize patterns. Supervised learning algorithms are given labeled training to learn the relationship between the input and the output. So what this labeled training is meant for? It is basically to establish or to learn the relationship between the inputs and the outputs. Data consists of collection of training examples and is known as training data. This is second important point, right? Basically whatever data consists of what? It consists of training examples, and these examples are known as training data, right? Supervised learning algorithms discover a function that may be used to predict the output with the fresh inputs. So you don't basically utilize the older inputs, you basically have a set of new inputs that would help you to predict the output. Active learning, classification, and regression, right? Please remember these three things. Active learning, classification, regression are some of the examples of supervised learning. So that's what is supervised learning all about. So basically it uses what? It basically uses the label data And data consists of what? Collection of training examples, which is known as training data. It establishes the relationship between the inputs and the outputs. All the outputs can be predicted with the help of fresh inputs. Active learning, classification and regression are some of the examples of supervised learning. Okay, just for your understanding, let's look at an example of supervised learning. Example is, suppose you are given a basket filled with different kinds of fruits. Okay, now the first step is to train the machine with all the different fruits one by one like this. So how do you recognize the fruit? That we will try to understand. First point says, if the shape of the object is rounded and has a depression at the top, depression means a small hole in the top, is red in color, then it will be labeled as apple. Fine. Okay, if the shape of the object is a long curving cylinder having green yellow color, then it will be labeled as what? As banana, right? So basically there are two fruits in the category in the basket, and that is being described. Okay, now suppose after training the data, you have given a new separate fruit, fine, and say banana from the basket and asked to identify it. So since the machine has already learned the things from the previous data and this time has to use it wisely, it will first classify the fruit with its shape and color and would confirm the fruit named as banana and put it in the banana category, right? That's what the label data is all about, right? Once you categorize that, you would be able to put it in under the banana category. Thus the machine learns the things from the training data, basket containing fruits, and then applies the knowledge to test data. So basically machine has learned the training data. What is that training data? Training data here refers to the basket, fine, and then applies the knowledge to test the data. What is the data here? Data is the new fruit, that is banana, fine. Okay, so supervised learning primarily talks about the learning the label data. Okay, second one is what we called as unsupervised learning. Okay, now type of machine learning that learns from the unlabeled data. So basically supervised learning, you learn from the labeled data. In terms of unsupervised learning, you learn it from the unlabeled data. This means does not have any pre-existing labels or categories. So obviously you won't have any labels in it, or there are no categories as such. So the key word here is basically all the data or the learning that is being done, that is done through unlabeled data and does not have any pre-existing labels or categories. Fine. Now the purpose is to discover patterns and relationship in data without any explicit guidance. Now basically, since you don't have any guidance per se, so whatever patterns or relationships are being established in the data, that is done without any guidance per se, right? Okay, unlike supervised learning, no teacher is provided, yes, which means no training will be given to the machine. Fine, because it is unsupervised, so it is expected that there will be no teacher in it, which means no training will be given to the machine. Therefore, machine is restricted to find the hidden structure in the unlabeled data itself. So it has to find its own hidden structure or the basic idea or the premise as far as the unlabeled data is concerned. It utilizes data set comprising just inputs to identify data structure such as grouping and clustering. So basically it utilizes what? A data set which comprises of what? Inputs to identify the data structure such as grouping and clustering. So the two things that are utilized are basically grouping and clustering, right? Okay, just give me a second, I'll just check whether this video is working or not. Okay, it's fine. Okay, let's continue. Okay, so let's quickly revise what is unsupervised learning. It is basically a type of machine learning that learns from the unlabeled data. This means it does not have any pre-existing labels or categories, right? The purpose is what? To discover patterns and relationship in data without any explicit guidance. Now, unlike supervised learning, there's no teacher, because that means there will be no training that will be provided. Machine is restricted to find the hidden structure in unlabeled data itself. So whatever thing has to be recognized or realized, it can be done through the hidden structure in unlabeled data itself. It utilizes data set comprising just inputs to identify data structures such as grouping and clustering, right? Let's move on to the next one. This talks about the semi-supervised learning. Now what exactly is semi-supervised learning? Semi-supervised learning is nothing but it is an intermediate between unsupervised learning and supervised learning, right? So basically something which is a link between a supervised and unsupervised learning, that is called as semi-supervised learning. As per many researchers, when unlabeled data is combined with a tiny quantity of labeled data. So you have huge amount of unlabeled data along with some tiny quantity of labeled data, there is a significant gain in the learning accuracy. So that's how supervised learning is a very efficient tool, right? So basically it's an intermediate between what unsupervised and the supervised learning, that is unlabeled and the labeled data rather. That way also you can describe it. And many researchers says that if unlabeled data is combined with a very little or tiny quantity of labeled data, there is a significant gain in the learning accuracy, right? Then we come to something called as reinforcement learning. Okay, what is exactly reinforcement learning? Reinforcement learning is nothing but it's an area of machine learning which talks about suitable action to maximize reward. So the basic purpose of it is to maximize the reward in a particular situation. So that's what is reinforcement learning. It is employed by various software. So basically you reinforce or you put in more pressure for what? To gain more reward or maximize your reward. It is employed by what? By whom? By various software and machines to find the best possible behavior or path it should take in a specific situation. So who are the people who use it, or what are the various aspects where it is being utilized? Various softwares and machines are using it for what? For finding the best possible behavior or path that it should take in a specific situation. Now when we talk about reinforcement learning, it is the science of decision making. So the basic idea of reinforcement learning is what? Decision making. It is about learning the optimal behavior in an environment to obtain maximum reward. That's something which we have already discussed. The idea is to maximize the reward by what? By learning the optimal behavior in an environment. Data in this technique is accumulated from machine learning systems using trial and error method. So the basic context or the basic learning idea here is by utilizing trial and error method. This technique is used in several fields. Which are the several fields where it is actually used? Game theory, control theory, operations research, information theory, statistics, general algorithm, etc. So these are various areas wherein RL or reinforcement learning can be implemented. So what are they? Game theory, control theory, OR, that is operation research, information theory, statistics, general algorithm, etc. Now reinforcement learning employ dynamic programming techniques. So they use programming techniques which are very dynamic, or which have a lot of variety, or which can have a lot of use case, right? So RL employ dynamic program techniques. It does not require any prior knowledge of an accurate mathematical model of machine learning and are employed when exact models are not practicable. So that means when there is no prior knowledge that is required for of an accurate mathematical model of machine learning, then reinforcement learning can be applied, and they are employed when the exact models are not practicable. So that's what is reinforcement learning all about, right? Let's come to the last part of this chapter, which talks about dimensionality reduction. Okay, what do you mean by dimensionality reduction? It is basically a technique used to reduce the number of features in a data set. So the idea is to reduce the number of features in a data set while retaining as much of the important information as possible. So the idea is to reduce the number of features, but you have to make sure that you retain the maximum information possible, right? In other words, it is a process of transforming high dimensional data into a lower dimensional space by still preserving the essence of the original data, right? What is exactly high dimensional data? Data with large number of features or variables. So that's what the definition also says. It's basically a technique which is used to reduce the number of features in a data set, right, while retaining what? As much of information as much of important information as possible. Or we can rephrase this sentence and say process of transforming high dimensional data, that is data with large number of features or variables, into a lower dimensional space by still preserving the essence of original data, right? So original flavor of the data should remain as it is. The best example of dimensionality reduction includes transforming of data from 3D to 2D. So if you have a data in 3D and you convert it into 2D, that is the best way of explaining how a dimensionality reduction actually works. So basically it's a reduction. So reduction of what? Number of features and dimensionality. So dimensionality here refers to categorizing from or transforming from 3D to 2D. That's how you can remember this. Now the majority of strategies in this technique may be categorized as either deletion or extraction of features. So the two things that you can do is either you can delete the features or you can extract the features, right? So basically when you reduce the number of features in a data set, that by retaining the original information to the extent possible, that is called as dimensionality reduction. Best example is that of 3D to 2D. Majority of strategies, these techniques may be categorized as either deletion or the extraction of the features, right? So with this we finish machine learning. So what are the approaches towards machine learning? There are 5 machine learning machine learnings are basically categorized into 5 different techniques, right? What are these categories? These categories are supervised learning. Supervised learning talks about what? It talks about the labeled data. Then you talk about unsupervised learning, which is basically which refers to unlabeled data. Semi-supervised learning, which acts as a link between supervised and unsupervised data. Then you have something called as reinforcement learning, wherein machine learnings can take suitable action for maximizing the reward in a particular situation, and it is a science of decision making. Finally, you talk about something called as dimensionality reduction. It's a technique which is used to reduce the number of features in a data set. That is 3D to 2D. That's the best way you remember that. With this, we finish one of the biggest chapters of business data analytics, that is 11.5. Now we move on to the next one, which is 11.6. This chapter on a whole is a very small chapter. Couple of points that you need to know. We'll just run through it. In artificial intelligence, there are 2 schools of thoughts. What are they? One is data driven and second is model driven model driven method, right? What is data driven? It focuses on enhancing data quality and data governance in order to enhance the performance of a particular problem statement, right? So what is data driven? Something which is very data oriented. So that's basically one school of thought as far as artificial intelligence is concerned. It focuses on what? Enhancing data quality and data governance. So the 2 points you need to remember is, one is data quality and the second one is data governance. For what? In order to enhance the performance of a particular problem statement, right? Okay. Second one is model driven data or model driven method. It attempts to increase performance by developing new models and algorithmic manipulations, right? In actual, these 2 things should go hand in hand. But in reality, modern techniques have advanced way more than data driven model. So the second option is more viable as compared to the first one, right? So what exactly is a model driven method? It attempts to increase the performance by developing new models and algorithmic manipulations. The first one is all about enhancing data quality and data governance. As far as model driven method is concerned, it attempts to increase performance by what? By developing new models and algorithmic manipulations, right? In actual, these 2 things should go hand in hand, but in reality, modern techniques, that is model driven data, is more popular or more advanced as compared to the data driven model, right? Best example can be that of COVID-19. See, in COVID-19, what happened is, it was used as one of the core events to understand this perspective, the usage of above. Now, artificial intelligence has proved to be one of the most essential tool for diagnosing the epidemic with the help of what? If someone has to find out whether they are being diagnosed with COVID-19 or not, many techniques were used which were like CT scan or X-ray or other medical imaging. For what? For estimating the course of the disease or even anticipating overall number of fatalities. Fatalities means the number of casualties or the deaths, right? So basically, as far as COVID-19 was concerned, AI played a very pivotal role. How did it help them? It helped in diagnosing the epidemic with the help of what? CT scan, X-ray, other medical imaging. For what? For estimating the course of the disease or even anticipating overall number of fatalities. However, a few of the vast quantity of work were found suitable for actual implementation procedure in the healthcare industry. So not all of these techniques were proved out to be successful, but some of them were, but most of them weren't, and their actual procedure or their actual implementation in the healthcare industry was not exactly practicable, right? So that's what it talks about. Okay, with this we finish all the chapters. Now we quickly come to MCQs of chapter number 11. Let's answer the question. Following are the benefits of data analytics: improves decision making process, increase in efficiency of operations, improve service to stakeholders, all of the above. The correct answer is all of the above. Following are the techniques of data mining: association rules, neural network, decision tree, all of the above. We've already discussed all these in the previous chapter. So the answer is all of the above. XML is abbreviated form of extensible markup language, right? X stands here for extensible, right? So that's the correct answer. XBRL is the abbreviated form of extensible business reporting language. So the correct option is option number A. And finally, we move on to the last part. Following are the types of cloud computing: private cloud, public cloud, hybrid cloud, all of the above. The correct answer is all of the above. We just discussed in the previous chapter. Okay, now let's come to true or false. A decision tree classifies or predicts likely outcomes based on the collection of decisions, right? So that is true. K nearest neighbor, often known as KNN algorithm, classifies data points depending on their closeness to and correlation with other accessible data. Yes, that's true. Utilizing data mining techniques, hidden patterns and future trends and behaviors in financial markets may be predicted. Yes, so by usage of data mining techniques, you can identify the hidden patterns and the future trends. Social analytics are virtually always a type of descriptive analytics. Yes, and diagnostic analytics highlights the tools that are employed to question the data. Why did this occur? So why question is answered by diagnostic analysis. So that is true again. Okay, let's look at the fill in the blanks. Data analytics helps us to identify patterns in raw dash and extract useful information from them. The correct answer is data. So basically data analytics helps us to identify patterns in data, in the raw data rather, right? Through smart dash analytics, data mining has enhanced corporate decision making. So through smart data analytics, data mining has enhanced corporate decision making. Data dash techniques are utilized to develop descriptions and hypotheses on a specific data set. So the correct answer here is mining. So what does data mining do? These are the data mining techniques rather are utilized to develop descriptions and hypotheses on a specific data set. Data mining typically involves how many steps? They basically involves 4 steps. What are these 4 steps? Setting the business objective, preparation of data, model building and pattern mining, result evaluation and implementation of knowledge, right? This is something which I've already discussed in the previous chapters. If you have not seen those videos, please refer to them. Primarily utilized for deep learning algorithms. Dash replicate the interconnection of human brain through layers of nodes to process training data. So the correct answer here is neural network, right? So with this we finished the entire business data analytics, right? So just to motivate, or if you have seen the video till here, that does mean that you should support me rather, and please press the like button for it, and please do share with your friends so that even they are able to make the use of these videos and are able to score good marks in their examination, right? Thank you for joining, and all the best for your exams, and make sure that you focus, you do well. If you have any doubts in any of the subjects, please do comment, or any of the topic you have confusion in, please do comment, so that I can make further videos for any kind of clarification that you need, right? Thank you for joining and happy learning.